Well, hello my fellow cardmellers. How you doing today? We got another product here that I recently discovered that, well, it's going to be my first time ever trying it out, but I wanted to share it with you guys. And I first saw this item on Grumpy's channel. Go check this out, on this video right here. He kind of did a quick show of this cutting board, and it immediately got my attention. And I went over to Andy's and asked him if he had heard of them. He wasn't carrying them, so he checked in because he was starting to order a lot of tools from AK, and he got them and they came in. And I gotta say, they're pretty pricey. You know, there's two of them. Check this out. You can see that they're pricey, but I think they're worth it. For some of the times that I have needed some trick little, able to cut shapes really perfect for masking off, boy, I could have used something like this. I've tried, you know, my rulers here, I have my stencils with shapes on and all that stuff, but this little cutting board can be really, really handy. So I'm going to give this thing a try. You can see right here the cool stuff you got to do, you know. And this has been a pretty well-known thing in the armor. Obviously it's geared towards the armor and aircraft guys, you know, but you know, there's an automotive thing right there. You see what you can do. How many times have you needed to do stuff like that for your model cars? So they don't really market it to us, but so I'm going to market it to us. I'm going to go ahead and get these opened. So here's the first one we're going to look at. This is just, what a cool idea. But if you can see, this is all scribed in lines. So what makes this really cool, let me get in here. You have a nice sharp X-Acto blade. You take your masking tape. Let's just get ourselves a piece off of here. I'm just going to lay this down right here. And let's go ahead and do a little cutting here. What we could do with this right away, you know, you can follow. You want to do something just specific. Yeah, this is so nice. And it just cuts you out a perfect lines. Look at that, it's like it's die cut. So you can get real tricky. And just, let's try something. I'm going to go all the way across. Let's remove a piece of this. It's a little hard for me. I can't, with the camera, I can't get over it like I would normally when I'm working on stuff. You gotta try to find that line. It's actually really, really thin. And you get into a groove. This is going to take some practice because I keep getting out of the channel that's provided. I'm worried about cutting into this. You got to be really light. But I'm going to flip this around. Let's try another one here. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm having a tough time with it because I'm not too good at this. I'm just gliding over. This is going to take some practice. And I'm worried about cutting in grooves. You got to be real careful. But look at that. That's from some work right there. Let's see if we can just get a little small thing going here. And I can't really get over it like I would normally do when I'm doing model building. But look at how small of a square you can... Well, you got it in rectangles. Okay. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that something? The possibilities are endless. Now we're going to mess around with this other one that has a whole bunch of shapes. Let's do some curved stuff here. I'm going to do a... And the trick is, one thing, yeah, I'm going over it. You just got to be really light with it. It's going to take some practice for sure. I'm not good at it because the grooves, they're very, very thin. So it is really hard. As you can see, I've got this going. But I keep wanting to jump the line. But you don't want to put too much pressure down. Just take your time because you don't want to cut into this board. It's pretty dense, so it'll take some really getting into it to cut it, but you don't want to put slices in there that will cause you to go off the rails. So I have never done this, so I'm getting the hang of it just by practice. You got to do some practicing. But again, I'm wanting to get off the rails there. So I'm sure there's some aircraft and armor guys that really got this down. I'm going to have a little sit down with Darren on this because, well, I don't really think it's the product. I think it's me, but I'm not doing too good of a job with this. I'm going off. But you can see what I've got going. I'm just kind of going off a bit, and you can see where I started slipping off. It's really hard to stay in the track. I would almost say if they would have just made those a little bit deeper. That's kind of the bummer. I get real concerned that you go off track and then you mess up the jig. But there we go. I think it's just going to take some practice, you know, especially with these, you know, curved lines. You just got to work with it. But I think this is an outstanding tool to have, especially if you like to do trick masking jobs. Look at that. And you got all kinds of, you can work on this over here for, you need a triangle. It's just, you can go, this is a little complex, I'm going to do a little easier. Like I said, this is going to take some practice. I can't even get it started. But you remember in my scribing video, when I was showing that to me a scriber, the trick is very light. Have a sharp blade and be very, very light. You know where this would be really easy to do too is, let's try something here. Well, let me first try to get a triangle. That's Felix in the background making noise. It's Grandpa Day. Look at that little tiny triangle. Can you see that? Holy cow. I'm just putting it on my thumbnail. Look at that. You see that? Wow. So it is definitely something that takes some practice and finesse. But when you get it down, I'm going to try something kind of weird here. When you get it down, you'll have a good tool in your arsenal if you can get it down and not screw up so much, which I am. Well, this is my first time using it, so you just got to mess around with it. And you can see where I went off the rails there. But so if you take some fine line tape, because it's kind of semi-see-through, let's just see if you can see the black marks. It's probably why it's all black. Yeah. See, if you get thicker pieces of fine line, then you can see where you're going. That's a big issue on that masking tape. See what I can do here? I can see what's going on. So there you can really cut the fine line tape, definitely. Like if you get the Tamiya pinstripe or fine line tape, it definitely works a lot better because you can when you put it down, you can see the where you're cutting. I don't know if you can tell on this video, but you can see through it slightly and you can see the lines a lot better, so it's easier to stay on track. All in all, this is an incredibly good tool for doing tricky maskings. I will give this the Lucas seal of approval. Pretty cool. Like I said, they're kind of pricey. They're around $30, but it is very good design and construction, and they're not flimsy at all. And I went across here quite a bit, and I didn't cut in a new line with my X-Acto knife when I was making all my mistakes. I gotta tell you guys, AK, there's quite a neat company that came into our hobby that were mostly aimed towards the military guys, but this is pretty useful stuff for us. Us car guys can really use these tools. That's what I have for you today. Kind of a clunky video, but so there you go. AK, easy cutting. It's the Type 2, the Type 1. We have got ourselves another tool in the arsenal of our model building. I want to thank you guys for watching. You know what we say here. This is me, Lucas C. Keep gluing those fingers together and keep cutting that styrene. And we'll see you in the next video. And here are my producers.